The thing I feel like I'm really struggling with right now is knowing I need to like firm up my sense of identity and show that. And every time I've done that in the past, right, it's not been bad. It's often been very good. But if I solidify, and this is like the Bermuda thing, right? If I solidify, then I'm not available for attachment, and then everything's a disaster, even though I have this life experience that says if I do firm up, I will get better attachments.
Welcome to another episode of What It's Like to Be You. I'm Josh Levine, your host, and on this show, I interview accurately typed guests about their experience as their Enneagram type. Today, my guest is Aurel, who is a social self-pres 6-wing-7 with 6-9-3 trifix. And one of the things that's fascinating about Aurel is that he has significant memory loss from early childhood due to a medical event. And so it was interesting getting into how Aurel constructs a map of reality as well as a sense of self without having full access to his own narrative history. And we also get into this conversation, the 6-9 stem that Aurel has up front. And 6-9 stem is very common stem. Sometimes it's 9-6, but in Aurel's case, it's 6-9 because he's a core 6. And the anti-elitism, anti-narcissism sensibility that comes with that stem up front. Aurel also has a 3-fix in his third spot, which means that he likes to be paid attention to, likes to be admired, likes to occasionally be on stage and have the spotlight on him. However, with 6-9 up front, there is a profound ambivalence towards taking up space, being in the spotlight, being the spokesperson for something, being kind of the poster child or face of even the kind of sensibilities that he has anchored himself to in his life and kind of worked very hard to become an expert in. One of the things that tends to get emphasized in the literature on 6 is their being out of touch with their own inner guidance. And there is obviously truth to this. 6s are piecing together a map of reality based on other people's maps as the attachment type in the middle center. However, in the essence of 6, there is what you might call a courageous humility to accept the limitations of my perceptions and the willingness to keep an open mind, to keep looking for better sources of truth to integrate into my map, to keep looking for a more complete and reliable orientation, and to be willing to consider other people's perspectives to integrate into their source, into their map of reality. And this all comes down to what you could say is one of Aurel's key values, which is the importance of having good information. And I just love that as a 6 sensibility. And Aurel literally went to school for information sciences, which we talk about a little bit in the interview. But just, this importance of having good and reliable information. And especially as a social self-pres type, having good and reliable information that is on topics that are not just important and resonant for him, but important for having a collective in which everyone belongs, everyone has a place, like a well-functioning society. What are the important pieces of information that we need to have an inclusive society? Finally, we also talk about the 6's core ambivalence towards the a priori categories that are held in the collective mind. That, we live in a socially constructed reality. We have categories that we are asked in a certain sense to identify into, for example, gender norms or age or whatever. There are categories and definitions that the collective holds, and they are embedded in the way that we use language. And what it is to use language is to make distinctions about things and to say something is something and not something else. And the core ambivalence and frustration 6 has, kind of like shaking their fist at the authority in the sky about those categories and both the usefulness and also the limitations of labels, and the fact that it's sort of we can't live without them, but they're a blunt and unideal way of navigating the world, you could say. So that's a lot of orientation for this episode. If you would like to learn more about the Enneagram or Type 6 or social self-pres in general, then I recommend you go to our website, theenneagramschool.com, and check out our free resources, the catalog of interviews that we have, as well as our intro course where we lay out all the basic concepts. It's a great place to start if you're a beginner and a great place to go get a refresher if you're an advanced student. And without further ado, I'm very excited for you to learn from my friend Aurel. So I know that you have significant memory loss from the first like major part of your life up until about
Mhm.
when you were 20.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I find really fascinating about you and confusing is how how you hold on to a sense of self without grounding in or referencing the like a huge part of your past. And I wonder if you could talk about, if you're willing to, kind of either the circumstances that led to the memory loss or just the experience of what it's like to live without that, and what you anchor to now, especially as a core mental type, for your kind of, yeah, grounding in a certain sense of reliable orientation.
So the memory loss happened because I had a stroke when I was 15. They don't know
Okay.
why. We have some best
Yeah.
guesses, but that's about it.
Okay.
All things considered, I've recovered really well. I had really great supports.
Yeah.
Um, it was really touch and go for a while, but I don't remember that part.
Uh
Um,
huh.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that's how that happened.
Uh huh.
There's probably still scar tissue on my brain.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've had an MRI, though. So who knows?
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
This
But there
was
was a
25
medical
years
event.
ago.
Yeah, you had a
Yeah, this
stroke
was a
25
medical
years ago.
event.
Yeah.
This was a major
Yeah.
medical event. I almost had
Yeah.
brain surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's how that came to be. The memory loss was one of my major symptoms. There were lots of other things in play too. I forgot English. It took about 2 years to get fully fluent again.
No way.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I also speak
Okay.
French, so that I kept the French, lost the English.
Wow. Okay.
It's not uncommon for language to be affected during brain injuries like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
people don't really
Yeah.
know about it, but it's not at all uncommon.
All right.
And fortunately, my whole family is bilingual, so it wasn't a big deal at home. But
Huh.
yeah, anyway, so the memory loss. Yeah, so for a long time, it felt like, for a long time, I think a lot was gone, like a lot more than is now. At some point, I think things did start coming back. I was actually talking to my mom a few months ago, and she was like, "You don't remember your childhood. You remember what you've been told about your childhood."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that must have been true at a certain point, even though it's not anymore. I was able to be like, actually, no, here's some stuff I never told you about my childhood. I don't think I ever told anyone. Um,
So
like,
memories did come back in a
yeah, yeah.
piecemeal
So,
kind of way. Yeah. Okay.
but it trying to like trying to understand it as a cohesive whole doesn't really feel possible.
Right.
There are
Right.
some kind of narratives I've built around my childhood,
Mm-hmm.
um, but they are a little abstracted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I was really badly bullied, but I mostly don't remember it.
Okay.
Um, or like, I know I was a child actor and I have a bunch of random stories, but if there was an arc to it, and there might not have been, it's real life, I don't remember that.
So like from either the bullying or the performing, do you have a visceral, like, does your body retain the memory?
Yeah, I think it does. A really weird
Yeah.
thing used to happen to me on the street, and this isn't a type thing, but it, in the for at least 3 years after the brain injury, people would come up to me on the street and start talking to me like they knew me, and they did know me, right? They would know
Yeah.
my name, they would know things about me, that they would know my family. I would have
Uh-huh.
no clue who they were, like,
Yeah.
except I would react emotionally. I would either be really afraid of them or really like them. Like a really warm feeling. But obviously, when a stranger is talking to you with
Oh, that's so
familiarity
interesting. Your body.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
you
Yeah.
don't know why you like them or who they are, and you're trying to fake it because you're too young and frazzled to just be like, "Hey, by the way, I've had major brain injury. I don't know who you are. Sorry." Um, so in that context, even when you really like someone, it's still terrifying. Um, so I don't. But then I'd go home and like unpack it with my mom, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's so and so. This is how you know them. Yeah, you do like them, or yeah, you have had some pretty negative experiences with them." And it was
Mm-hmm.
always that emotional reaction was always accurate, and I don't know how my brain did that. Like
Yeah.
how it knew how I felt about people at such a gut level with zero other conscious context.
Yeah. It's one of those, the body keeps the score things, probably. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, you had some somatic impression of this person's
yeah.
energy that got
So I
really,
think there's a lot
yeah.
more somatic impressions in my body
Yeah.
than there are actual memories.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Um, Amazing. I guess thinking about you as a mental type and how you anchor to a reliable sense of what's going on um, or actually, let me say this differently. As for me, as a core heart type, as especially as a social heart type, I feel like the way I understand myself is through a kind of historical narrative.
Hmm.
And so, like, I can tell you about experiences in a chronological sense of like what happened to me in elementary school, middle school, high school, and how that forms how I reacted to those experiences and how they all amalgamate into a sense of who I am now. And without having access to that, do you carry now? Like, I mean, now,
Yeah.
do you carry a stable sense of self that is narrativized in that kind of way?
Not narrativized in that kind of way. I
Okay.
have stories.
Uh huh.
Like I understand that I understand that and this is intellectualized because again I don't like remember the
Mm-hmm.
specifics, but like I'm terrified of people. Like just
Okay.
terrified.
Okay.
And I'm sure it's related. So like I have these stories about myself. Like I see these things about myself and I can see the ties. But if you asked me to like write my autobiography, I would have no idea where to start narratively.
Right. That's
And I did
amazing.
struggle with that. I had that as a class assignment when I was like 22, and I really
Okay.
didn't know what
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
But
this
also
might
there I think
yeah, go
there
ahead.
it but also I think some of that is me refusing to see myself.
How so?
Like the thing I feel like I'm really struggling with right now is knowing I need to like firm up my sense of identity and show that. And every time I've done that in the past, right, it's not been bad. It's often been very good. But if I solidify, and this is like the Bermuda thing, right? If I solidify, then I'm not available for attachment, and then
Right.
everything's a disaster. Even though
Yeah.
I have this
Yeah.
life experience that says if I do firm up, I will get better attachments.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's. I mean, I'm relating as a core
Yeah.
attachment, triple attachment type. Yeah. I hard relate to that, and also well said. Do you have a sense of the things that you would solidify around?
That feels really scary to think about. Um, I don't even know how to answer that. Can you try asking it a different way?
Yeah. So actually, I'll just tell you like a couple of the mosaic pieces
Yeah.
of what comes together in my mind as I think about you. So first of all, I know just social context. You have a master's degree in, remind me again, it's
Library science.
informational
Information
libraries,
studies with a specialization in library science.
information studies with a specialization in library science, which I love that. It's like just uh yeah, just sort of maybe it doesn't get more mental type than that, but it's just great.
Right.
It's like um you have had a history as a performer, and also I loved how in your typing video you talked about being involved in role playing games
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
LARPing and Dungeon Dragons and other games like that.
Yeah.
And I want to actually put an asterisk in that and come back to it because there was something really powerful about your favorite character that you role play was someone who was like very expressive and just wore everything on their sleeves.
Hmm.
Um, so which is that has some resonance that I want to come back to.
Yeah.
You're also a professional organizer,
Mhm.
and you this was a really powerful statement you made. You have a strong desire to be a resource for folks as we descend into fascism,
Yeah.
and you have sort of social self-pres convictions about the larger social context and strongly held values that I imagine resonate in that somatic way where you're like, I know this to be true for me.
Yeah.
Um, and you have, in your words, the sixth craving to name and face ugly realities to ground other people, help them move out of panic and into action, or move into frustration when they aren't frustrated enough to act. And yeah, all these things kind of form a mosaic sense of who you are. And also, I'll just add something that I know to be true of you is like your fighter spirit. You have a fighter spirit. Um, and um, yeah,
I
It's just,
have a
it's
harder
interesting.
time understanding that about myself unless I
Yeah,
intellectualize it.
I
Like
see.
on a body level, I have a hard time accepting that, even though like my whole life is just like stuff getting stuck in my craw. And like, of course it does. Like I'm a reactive 6, I'm social self-pres. So that
Hmm.
whole, like,
Hmm.
what are the words I'm looking for? That whole contraflow thing, right? Like things
Yeah,
get stuck for
contraflow. Yeah.
contraflow.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Yeah. So like I see it, but the idea of embodying it is a lot. Like the idea
Hmm.
of owning it is a lot.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I guess this is part of the whole Bermuda struggle. You mentioned that you're kind of learning how to stand up for yourself, or at least this was part of your typing video, which was a couple years ago. But this
It's still
whole
a thing.
learning
Yeah.
still thing, yeah, learning how to stand up for yourself, learning how to solidify. Um, you also said um, a life lesson you've learned over and over again is that being proactively solid is good, actually,
Yep.
as opposed to maybe reactively solid or kind of preemptively diffuse, and then learning or yeah, learning what you're solid about later, or you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
I was contrasting that more about being diffuse.
yeah,
I hadn't really
right, right.
considered I'm being reactively solid, but yeah, I'm definitely doing that.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think I want to hone in on one of these pieces, and then we'll see how they all connect to each other. But I think that the professional organizing thing is particularly interesting and resonant for me, just because I know how passionate you are about social issues.
Mm.
And can you just talk about what are some of the issues that you are passionate about, and what makes you so passionate about them?
Um, I have a hard time pinning it down to like one or two issues in the sense
Hmm.
that I understand it all to be intertwined,
Yep.
right? Like ableism has always been part of anti-blackness and it's part of transphobia. Like all of this stuff is it all works together in lockstep. So it's hard to like
Hmm.
be like, ah, yes, this is the one that is most important.
Yeah.
Um, although the
And
one that
actually,
feels like
just sorry, real quick, hold that thought, because I just want to mention the Enneagram thing about that. Like with the 6-9 stem,
yeah,
you know, it's like it's like mental alertness and sharpness, but with the 9 kind of like awareness of the entire interconnected tapestry,
mm,
that anything that you would kind of pinpoint in it is connected to this whole big thing. And so finding isolated topics without also seeing how they're connected to a wider systemic whole is sort of, you could say, maybe a difficult thing with the 6-9 stem.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you talk more about your anti-fascist sensibility? How do you like, just what's it like if you were to be on a pulpit and you had
Uh,
on a soapbox, what
I
would
was
you be
literally
saying?
thinking like, I don't want to be the poster child for anti-fascism,
Okay, okay, okay.
but
Yeah,
I can share what my experience has been for sure.
yeah, okay.
Um, I don't I don't have like a clear point for when I would have started identifying that way or how like I fell into those politics. I grew up really middle class, really centrist, uh, like center left at best, um,
Hmm.
uh, or at worst. uh, so like it's been a journey as an adult, like learning more about the world. And I did have like a lot of privilege. Like I didn't actually like I grew up middle class and had all that support, even though I went through this terrible medical thing. Um, in a different world, I am living in pretty extreme poverty right now because I just didn't get the support I needed to recover.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
uh, so like part of it has just been, yeah, it's been that thing we said earlier where like it's all the different pieces and all the different systems at play. Um, and in some ways, I think I got lucky that I picked good voices to listen to and attach to and absorb ideas from. And maybe some of that was also good discernment. Um, yeah. So, but at some point, I did get here, right? Like I can name this. I can talk about this. It means I don't know what does it mean. It definitely means actively resisting what's happening right now. But that's also exists in small ways too. Like I'm not just talking about like going out into the streets. I'm also talking about like talking to your neighbors and checking in on them when the weather's bad, right? Or uh, like think about a lot of like the caretaking work that the Black Panther Party did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know enough about that movement to know exactly all of the labels it would give itself, but like that community building work where it fed people, it gave people medical care, like that's all also anti-fascist.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that like radically taking care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my politics are also anti-statist. I don't really think nation states are doing much for people unless you're like Elon Musk
Mm-hmm.
or like Donald Trump. Um, so it's looking to ourselves for support because I don't think that it's coming from anywhere else.
You use the term for yourself becoming radicalized?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Can you are there like benchmarks in the journey of that?
Yeah, there's one really big benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost want to be like, can we put a timestamp on this so people who aren't white don't have to hear about how I learned to care about racism if they don't
Okay.
want to?
Yes. You can do
Yeah.
that.
So when Trump got elected in 2016, or I guess really late 2015, when the election happened, I was completely shocked. It took the floor out from under me. I did not expect that. Um, it scared me. Like I took away my sense of safety. I didn't think the world could work that way.
Okay.
Um, and then literally a tweet changed my life. um, I don't remember a handle or anything anymore, but this Black guy was like posted a long thread about all of this, and at one point he was like this is an empathy check-in for like white folks. Like the way you're feeling right now is how a lot of us have always felt, and that just landed so profoundly. Like it just drew such a clear line for me
Mm-hmm.
that I've never been the same since, for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Like within a few months I was involved in I found some Black women doing like training for white folks on
Mm-hmm.
anti-racism and got really
Yep.
involved with that for about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, and I've just like stayed in those spaces and kept kind of leaning into those ideas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What was the resonance? What was so strong about it?
I think it was being able to understand how unsafe a lot of people's experience is, and then
Uh-huh.
knowing how that felt for myself now.
I see. Yeah.
Because I'm sure I'd heard it before, but I had no frame of reference to understand it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so then having that personal experience of it, and then it kind of opened a portal into this whole dimension of um, suffering and anxiety shared by a bunch of other minority groups that have felt in a similar way.
That doesn't feel quite right, but what would? I don't know. I don't know what the words are,
Okay.
other than maybe like a radical empathy.
Radical
But
empathy.
that's
Yeah.
basically what you said.
Yeah. I'm wondering about let's see how to put this.
Okay, but also
The,
it did.
yeah. Yeah.
I think it did also fire me up at the injustice of it, because no one should have to feel that way,
Okay. There you go.
ever.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
it's wrong that I had to feel that way. It's wrong that anyone has to feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then this, kind of, let's see, drawing from the Enneagram again, kind of like core 6, sounding the alarm
Yeah.
sensibility.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of social self-pres in there too.
For sure. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole orientation is social self-pres in a way, right? But it's
Yeah.
also it's both. It's 6 and social self-pres, because I know there's
Yeah.
self-pres
For
social
sure.
sixes that care about this a lot too, but there's
Yeah.
but you
I
kind of
mean,
get a
I
double
think there's
hit,
people.
you know?
Yeah, I think there's people of every type who are like, actually, this is bad.
Right,
Um,
right.
but in my particular case, like the type structure feeds into how all of this happened for me and how I got radicalized.
Yeah.
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 And I
What?
think there were
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
chinks in like the middle class white armor along the way,
Mhm.
like seeing white feminism fail disabled people over and over again. And, I'm trying to remember. I think this either happened around the same. No, I don't think I quite knew I was trans yet.
Okay.
When all of this was happening. So that wasn't part of it. But being trans has also helped me see how much more vulnerable people can be as well. There's been a world of difference between being a cis queer woman and a queer trans person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So what is it? I guess what I'm kind of honing in on just from an Enneagram point of view in all this conversation is you might call it like, well, it's the textbook phrase for it would be reactivity in the mental center.
Yeah.
But it's really like a truth bearing or an unveiling, you could say, or
unveiling is a good word for it.
A pull towards something that has been in plain view this whole time. I didn't see it, but oh my God, now I see, and now I can't unsee it, and I need other people to see it too.
Yeah.
And this sounding the alarm sensibility that comes where it's like, I want to help open people's eyes to this reality that we're living in, that people have an extraordinary blind spot to. And I guess what I'm wondering about is I can't think of a better way to ask this, but like, what is like, I can't, is it, which this is not the right word. Would you say that it's yummy to do that? Like the word that came to me actually is egosyntonic, which is like a psychology word where it's like,
I don't know that word.
It's a deep psychology word that basically means something that feels good to my ego structure. Yeah. Like,
I think so.
Yeah. It feels self-aligned, where ego dystonic is something that feels not good to my ego structure. Like, speaking for myself as a 3, like ego syntonic is like working 12-hour days. It's like, I actually am happy doing that. It's ego dystonic for me to work a 4-hour day and then to just chill. Like, that actually produces stress for me. Ego syntonic, for you as a 6, is to kind of immerse yourself in these contexts where you are experiencing and representing this, let's open our eyes to this reality kind of worldview, and it would be ego dystonic to not be there, you could say. And so I'm wondering about the experience of that. Like, why is it so important? What makes you so devoted to it? And there's actually that devotional quality of 6 that we could bring in there too.
For sure.
Being kind of like devotion to a cause, something that feels really important, and the courage of 6 that comes online when that devotion gets unlocked, sense of certainty.
I think a big part of it like, I think you're on the right track with like it feeling right. But
yes, right. Yeah.
A lot of what I want to do as a social 6 is like spread the truth.
Yeah.
Like, I want people to have good information. And that's what makes like all the like, to bring it back, like that's what makes like the memory loss scary. Like,
yes,
maybe I'm telling you something that's true about myself. Maybe next time I tell my mom that story, she'll be like, actually, you're wrong. And I'll be like, well, shit, I've been lying to people. But also on like a broader scale, like I want them to have the best information they can have to make their own decisions. And it would be wildly arrogant to assume I always have all the best information. I definitely don't. But I think I know some really good things that are not necessarily well known.
Yeah. You do happen to have a master's degree in informational sciences. And so can we bring it back there for a second? Like, what is that? Sure. What is that degree? Like, what did you learn there?
It's really not that deep. It's
okay.
As we were transitioning into like the quote unquote information age, I started my degree 15 years ago. So it was still like the internet was not quite what it is now. Yeah. All of the library schools are transitioning from being library schools to information schools. So this was kind of like the in-between title that my school had been experimenting with, Master of Information Studies. The vast majority of people graduating from that program were specialized in library science.
Mm-hmm.
There were some archivists. There were some folks who were more systems side of the professions. But there were folks doing like that more intellectual labor about information. Like we talked about a lot about people like Cory Doctorow and, folks really invested in like, what is information? How do we gather information? How do we process information? How do we share information? And I did actually really enjoy that, unsurprisingly.
Let's see. I don't know. I don't know if we'll keep this in or not, but I find myself fascinated with this. I find myself fascinated with your fascination with information.
Yeah.
And
because you gotta know what the good information is. You gotta get to the real stuff, the good stuff.
Yes. And are you carrying a preemptive skepticism or watchfulness about kind of, is this information good or not good, or something like that?
I don't want to rule that out, but I think the absorptiveness is actually more forefronted. Like when I was in school, one of my friends turned to me one day and was like, I've never seen anyone take in theory as well as you do.
Okay.
And I think I was complaining at the time that I was having I have a hard time like speaking up in the moment. Like asking those good, smart questions in class is never something I've been really good at. I need to take that slow and come to those in my own time. But yeah, I do learn new information, new theory really fast and integrate it really well. It's that really like sixth thing, right? Of like, okay, let's take all these things from here and here and here and synthesize them together.
Yeah, it's 6.7 too. It's that play zone,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like information is a play space for me. Absolutely. Right. Like that's, even when I'm trying to numb out, I'm playing.
Yeah. One thing I've been thinking about a lot relative to 6 is, and I think you're speaking to this or potentially implying it, but I'm not actually sure if this is what you're saying. So here's my theory, is that 6 is consciously or unconsciously aware of how accidentally influenceable it can be. Like, it's so absorptive of information, and it's so, it's, in my theory, it's kind of like trying to piece together a map of reality based on other people's maps, looking for external guidance to kind of support and anchor to.
No, that really resonates with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm on the lookout for more information, other maps that I can stitch into this to make my map more reliable, more certain.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like my map will ever be done.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, and part of the reason I was like, I don't want to be the poster child for anti-fascism is because I don't have all the answers.
That's part of the anti-arrogance of 6.
Yeah.
And especially 6-9 stem, right? It's like I'm all, the map is so much more infinite than I could ever hold. And I'm trying to piece it together. I'm a servant towards piecing this together, but I don't want to be and it's like, I don't want to be responsible for being, your orientation,
Yeah. I really don't.
Because I'm sort of humbly in this project trying to do it myself. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just doing my best to figure it out.
Yeah.
But then there's this, let's see.
And then also there's like the superego piece that comes in afterward. Because my first thought really is like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm just a dude. But there is also then follow up the superego piece of like, what if I lead someone astray? What if I look stupid because I got something wrong or my analysis wasn't good enough?
Yeah.
And that piece is probably what stops me from putting myself out there more than I do.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah. That's a big deal because it's like I think that there's something so honestly noble about the Core 6 project of trying to get to what is true and real.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also this almost like perpetual humility that can, let's see, prevent the 6 from actually fully acknowledging like, damn, I've actually got a really good map at this point in my life. It's at the very least, it's something that's worth offering to other people. And I could help orient others based on what I've accrued so far. And
I do have some sense of that. Like, there's a reason I talk about this with people, and I'm trying to get more comfortable with just like telling people I'm an anarchist and I don't like nationalism and all of this stuff.
Right.
not that I need everyone to agree with me on everything. I really don't. I worked really hard on not being reactive when people disagree with me. And turns out being diplomatic is just not panicking when other people disagree and revealing part of your location. Anyway.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
speaking of solidity, that's the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've lost the thread again, but.
Well, okay, I have it in my head. There's two threads. First of all, just to finish this one little loop, and then I'll come back to the bigger one. The little loop is that as a core attachment type in the mental center, 6 is refraining from posturing, at least especially 6-9, refraining from posturing as the expert or authority, because its template for relationship, especially social 6, its template for relationship is that I'm available to receive your guidance. And I will happily attach into or I'm available to absorb what you've got, but I'm not necessarily trusting that you're available to receive what I've got.
I mean, yeah, that makes me feel like dying inside a little bit. So I think there's some truth to that I hadn't considered before now.
Okay.
But also a thing I'm thinking too is that it's actually more complicated than that, because there is that proselytizing quality to 6.
Yes, totally. Yes, there is.
Yeah, and like I am using that too. So it really depends on it's not that I'm going to shut you down because we don't have the same politics, but I am going to be a little bit more in proselytizing mode if I feel like you're more to the center than I am. And you might still say good things, and I will probably still hear those, but it's a different space than I'm in if it's like someone that I think has better judgment than me.
There you go. Okay, that's yeah. Let me frame this in a wider attachment context.
Yeah.
So like the way I see attachment types is that, and this is true in 9 for the body sensor, 3 for the heart sensor, and 6 for the mental sensor, is that there is an a priori assumption that the environment is given and not influenceable by me. So like 9 is like, the environment is set. In order for me to fit in here, I have to squeeze myself into whatever grooves are available, but I can't impact my environment and shape it into the kind of place that I can feel comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely not.
3, similarly, is like, whatever people value out there, that's not changeable. So in order for them to value me, I have to become what they already value. Yeah. I can't just be myself and then be a magnet to change what they value so that they turn towards me and value me. And 6 in the mental center is like, people already believe what they believe. And in order for me to have a relationship where we share mind, we're co-navigating, we're seeing the same thing, then I have to go to them, basically. I have to be shared mind on their terms. But I don't feel, or there's a kind of an a priori sense of, you could say, like, powerlessness to actually influence the collective mind.
I don't feel like I can do that at all.
Yeah. And so the 6 proselytizing thing feels like it comes from this, it's like a plaintive, I hope somebody hears me out there, like, I'm going to give this signal out, but I don't think anybody's going to really listen, but I hope they do, kind of thing.
I mean, the context I'm thinking of is like, I know I can influence people one-on-one.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah.
That I do believe in very strongly. And that's why I do like talk about my politics and share about myself. And it's in part so that like it starts conversations. It's also partially just self-defense. But in the sense that if people decide they hate it, they can't say I didn't tell them who I was up front. Shit, I lost the thread again. What was the last thing you said?
I was saying that the six proselytizing is coming from, it's like a
right, but So on that one-on-one level, I do feel very empowered, but at the group level, I feel invisible.
Right. And man, I mean, there's triple attachment also happening here. I have to just call that out because I think,
Yeah.
with a hexad fix in any of their centers, you might have a little bit more inherent oomph or belief in your ability to impact the space.
Yeah. And most of my wings are
Yeah.
frustration. And I see the way I'm addicted to my own frustration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. I see
Yeah.
the way I get frustrated and stay there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the macro thread that we were exploring too is how, okay, let me get there.
I think I said fixes. I meant wings. Most of my wings are frustration.
Right. Cause you have 6 wing 7, 9 wing 1 and 3 wing 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting back to the other macro thread, I can't remember exactly what this was in relation to, but I have a theory that I want to run by you and see if you relate to this. So fives are the rejection type in the mental center, and they're already coming from like a preemptive assumption that they're not being influenced by other people. The castle wall is already erected. They're not being penetrated mentally. But six is constantly open and scanning for, is there better information out there? Does someone have better judgment than me that I haven't seen before? That is like, is this patch of the map that I've grabbed from somewhere else interchangeable for a better one if someone sees better than me?
It's not even an if for me. It is. There are people out
Yeah.
there with better maps than me, and I'm looking for them.
Yes. Yeah, and this is part of the humility of six too. It's like the six truth seeking project
Yeah.
is like, I want the best, most optimal orientation, and I have a humility that it's not going to all come from me. And there are people who've traveled the path before, and people who have better judgment or are more expert or whatever than I am. But six has sort of it's sort of unconsciously a like a an over willingness to believe that other people have better judgment than them, you could say. It's like a preemptive dismissal of my own judgment and a preemptive putting others judgment potentially on a pedestal until I look at it and I can dismiss them. And if I don't know how to put this, if I notice that someone has bad judgment, I can basically just decide not to listen to them. But I'm constantly scanning and open for the people that I can let in to influence me to have better, reliable orientation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I really like that wording.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess my question is, at one point, do you feel like you will arrive at a point where you feel like you are an expert on something, where you could stand on a pulpit and be the spokesperson or the poster child for anarchism or something like that?
I don't want that.
You don't want it. Okay.
I don't want it. That doesn't feel useful or helpful to anyone. Especially because my brand of anarchism is like very communist influence. Like I think that it needs to be a collective effort to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like I want to influence things when I know I have something good to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this isn't, I think there are other areas of my life where like I might want to be seen as an expert, but this isn't one of them. This doesn't feel like it even needs that.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess this is also coming from, and this has happened to me in other conversations with sixes, where I'm coming from a core 3 perspective of like, don't you want to be?
Don't you want the fame and recognition?
Yeah.
But like, it's not that I don't ever want that. Like, we touched on this briefly in like the pre-talk, like the first time we talked. Like, I didn't come to you to do this; you came to me. Right, to do this interview, and I could have come to you at any time, and and one of my friends was encouraging me to do it because she knew I wanted to do it.
Okay, yeah.
But there was a part of me that wanted to be chosen, like wanted to be recognized.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I'd gone to you first, it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's funny, you know, there is a specialness in being shy. I get it. I do know what you mean. You want to be reached out to. Everyone wants to be reached out to be invited.
Like, you think you invited me. That means you think I have good judgment and smart things to say. That's great. I love that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what does that do? What does that do for you that you know that you have my
I
vote on
think
that?
I think it helps shore up my ability to feel that way about myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, here's someone whose judgment I respect, who has faith in my
Yeah,
judgment
and
or something like
because
that.
that
Yeah.
I think that's the downside of the 6-9 humility stem is it
Yes.
also
Yeah. Yeah.
turns into lack of self-confidence and a lack
Yeah.
of trusting of your own judgment.
Yeah. Because and your words for I love these words. The anti-elitism and self-erasure of the 6-9 stem, which
Yeah.
are, um, yeah, which disintegrate into a kind of overly making myself small, of not yeah, it's like with that heart fixed last, and with both 6 and 9 having an anti-narcissism. It's like, ooh, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to
And
be
the Bermuda
arrogant. Yeah, yeah,
refusing my own self-gaze.
yeah. Yeah, that's very good. Refuse my own self gaze. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this does bring me to the your experience with role playing games.
Sure.
I want to go there for a little
Okay.
bit because
Sure.
I first of all, I love role playing games myself. Also,
Mm.
I just love them. I just think they're so fun and cool. But first of all, can you explain what they are for people who don't know, and then we'll get
Yeah.
into your relationship to them.
So D&D is kind of the archetype, the classic, the
Yeah.
first one that ever went big, but it's a whole range of different games where they can either lean. There's a lot of different ways to role play. You can be really into the rules and you're just kind of the story as a structure to play with the rules and
Mm-hmm.
like beat up bad guys, and that's kind of like core classic D&D, or beat
Mm-hmm.
up good guys if that's how you're playing.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
D&D is Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. But there are also systems that lean more a lot into the narrative. So you can use this as a way of collectively telling stories together. And that's definitely been more of my experience of how LARPing works, but also there are tabletop games, so games you play around the table,
Right. Right.
that also lean into that more, that are not quite so rules intensive. So there's different ways to do this and explore this. But for me, it's
Yeah.
always been more about the narrative and getting to play with different. Honestly, at this point, it's been like 20 years I've been doing this. It kind of feels like exploring different parts of myself rather than stepping outside
Yes.
of myself.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's where I'm
Yeah,
going with this, cuz yeah, it's
yeah,
cuz when you pick a character and then I mean, people who've never done this don't understand. You are literally trying to act as that character, you know, and so if you are like okay, just revealing something about myself. So, you know, when I was in middle school, I always chose to be so in Dungeons and Dragons, I was always the character that was like the hulking smasher type of guy.
mm,
So I was like uh, you know, half orc barbarian with a giant sword or hammer kind of person.
yeah,
And it's just so contrary to who I sort of quote unquote actually am, but it is representing a dimension. You could
yeah,
say a shadow self or something like that. And what I think is so interesting from you could call it an inner work point of view, I suppose, is that when you enter these spaces where you're imagining into and then actually trying to embody, especially in a LARPing context, we're actually doing it, you know,
you're
like
literally
live
embodying.
action, yeah, live action role playing, where you're being this character. It's kind of a way to try on another persona and to get in touch with and cultivate and express qualities of yourself that you don't
Yeah,
typically in your default state.
yeah,
And so you mentioned that you were really drawn to your favorite character that you ever played was someone who's like really expressive and self-permissive.
yeah. I don't remember the context of that anymore, but I
Okay.
can think of maybe two characters that kind of fit the bill. I had a LARP character 20 years ago now. Um, yeah, who just I cried a lot as her. Like, I physically cried.
That's the one I was talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And just like yelled at people. And like um I when I'm not properly medicated, I cry a lot anyway. But I think it was good for my nervous system to cry as someone else. to kind of get that out without
Mm-hmm.
torturing myself personally.
Okay.
But also, yeah, it felt really great to yell at people. That's not, at that age, I was completely disconnected from my own anger. Like I remember, like at some point in and around that window when I was playing that character, I remember thinking like, is it normal that I never get angry? And knowing it wasn't, but not being able to deal with it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, getting to explore that through characters is fun. I had another character like 15 years after that who was really pushy and really demanding and rude. And that was fun to play too for the same reasons. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like letting out all of your mean reactive thoughts.
Yeah, it's all this anti-9 stuff too. It's like
Yeah.
I am going to take up space and be huge with my emotions and
Yeah.
not care about the impact, not even think about the impact. I'm just going to do it,
Yeah, and I remember doing it to
Yeah.
one of the other players at in that party once, and he just kind of froze, and like I dropped back into me, and I was like, we don't have to role play this out. We can just like talk through what we think the characters would do. He was like, no,
Okay.
I want to do it, but
Uh-huh.
but yeah, like it is not you. So and it gives, but it's still you. It can be still you. If that's how you're doing it.
Yeah, I wonder. So another 6 I really respect is Courtney Smith, and this is something that she has done as a modality of inner work, is like invent characters, not necessarily in a like a D&D or LARPing context, but like just you sit and you invent a character that represents some shadow aspect of yourself, and then you actually embody it for 15, 20 minutes, hour at a time or whatever, and you just kind of do it.
Yeah, and basically every queer person I know who role plays experimented with being queer in games before they were willing to admit it to themselves.
Oh, that's very interesting.
It makes sense, right? It's a safe container to explore that. It's not you.
Yeah.
And so long as your table isn't going to be shitty about queer people, you're good.
I can't tell if this is a cop out or not, but this idea terrifies me of like role playing, and because I love D&D and stuff like that, but actually like LARPing, like going on to a field or something and choosing a character and then being that character, and improvising as that character as a core heart type, it's like hard to get out of my own image or something like that to shift into the dimension of
bet.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think maybe being heart last actually helps there because I neglect my own image all the time.
That's right.
So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, it's part of the wisdom of heart lastness is like not being so self-conscious all the time. But yeah.
I mean, I think being a super ego type counterbalances that a lot, unfortunately.
That makes sense. Yeah. There's plenty of self-lashings, I'm sure there. Yeah.
But I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about proactively managing it. I'm thinking about what I did wrong after I did it wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. So I'm curious, kind of now that we're into the groove of the conversation, anything else that's coming up for you around memory loss and how you relate to that now as a core 6?
I think I said this before the camera went on, but I used the words like this memory loss has been haunting me for 25 years, right? This loss. And it does feel like a haunting. What we talked about not like having the narrative structure of my life, of not being able to reliably tell my own autobiography, without feeling like I might be misleading people or myself. It's bad. It's really hard. It's hard to even put into words, like the distrust it engenders and the fear. Around the time of the attachment support group, I actually, on a whim, fucked off to a playwriting retreat for 5 days and wrote about this.
Okay.
It was like it was specifically framed as like write your story. So I had like a 7-minute play about what it's like to have memory loss. And, like in pretty true to type, I think. I ended up pulling on a lot of threads of like some stuff I considered putting in it was like, okay, so I don't remember, but none of us holds all of ourself. like your parents remember things about you that you don't remember. So do your friends. Like all of the people you've ever known know things about you that you don't. Like, or and even just like on a more basic level, like the way I'm trying to hide from myself, but other people still see me anyway. Right? Like even at my most self-obscuring, I was still visible to people. And it's that thing where like memory is also a collective endeavor, right? The way we tell stories about cultures and nations, that's all collective memory. So it's never just like what you hold in your own head. It's never just you. And that helps some. It's also terrifying in other ways, like what happens when my parents eventually die. Right? And there are some things that are supposed to go with them, like your very early life, right? No one remembers what they were like as a no, you don't remember your baby experiences. But yeah, I think coming to grips with the fact that like it was never just me is out there, like it helps, right? It helps ground that like, oh right, there is some sort of common experience here, even if mine is maybe more extreme. I think I'm slowly coming to a place too where I just care less. Right? Like, okay, so I don't remember. I am still actually a whole person. And it's hard, right? Because we live in a culture that's obsessed with memory as identity. Like there's so much work about who are you if you don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, even that was my whole framing of the entrance to this conversation.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But it turns out like somatically you might still remember things. I'm pretty sure it didn't change the things I like. Brain injuries can obviously do that though, but that's not necessarily what memory loss does. Yeah, and I think even if I hadn't had all this memory loss, there still would have been this work of trying to like excavate myself as an adult, because that's just part of the Bermuda bullshit.
There's a lot coming up for me about what you just said. There's two main points. First is just, I think that's such a cool, there is something core six about that perspective that, you know, orientation is something that is collectively held, but is not internally generated in isolation. And it's, I mean, we live in a socially embedded context, and meaning is a social reality. And who you are is not something that you hold just for yourself. It's, you know, everyone has a different piece of the mosaic or facet of the diamond or something of who you are, you could say, in the collective shared tapestry where everyone contributes their own thread, kind of thing. So yeah, the other piece is how, like, the core fear of the mental center is that I can't be certain of my own perceptions.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like that is actually an existential reality. It's just a truth. You know, the fear is based on a truth. We can't actually ever be certain. Reality is always more infinitely complex than we can ever hold as a map. No map is ever the territory. And what you see depends on the theory and the lens you're looking with. And this way you just pointed out how much we value memory as the way that we form a framework or an orientation or way of seeing ourselves or anything in reality. Let's see how to put this. It's kind of like you're calling out a central delusion of the mental center, or the way that we participate in the illusion of creating certainty together, where we draw upon my memory, your memory, and then come to sort of an agreement about what truth we're going to accept right now. And how, in a sense, our stories about who we are is based in this. Anytime it's based in a narrative sense of self, it is perpetuating an illusion. It's part of it's like how the mental center and the heart center collude, you could say, to form a self-image, you know, where it's like, I want to know who I am in such a way that I can be certain of who I am and then be certain of my own self-worth. And I do that by organizing my memories of myself and framing up a sense of who I am and then justifying my own worth to myself. But if I don't have that memory to draw from, it's like, according to a collective framing where you have to have memory in order to know who you are, then that falls apart. But it's like you still exist and you still have an identity, and it's it just doesn't conform to the kind of conventional way of framing one.
No.
But there's still like a felt sense of who you are that you're carrying.
I mean, here's where we're getting into like the Bermuda of it all too, right? Like, also, what is my felt sense of my identity, and not wanting to really see it, which is a weird contrast with this like actual loss, right? Like, here's where I'm refusing, but here's where it's actually just the memories aren't there; they don't exist anymore. Yeah. And I think part of what feels so bad about that is it's completely outside of my control. I can't choose whether or not I remember.
I'm always fascinated by stories of how, for example, when people in prison find a level of inner freedom that they would never found on the outside, or when people who have suffered major medical issues, that it kind of makes them confront or lose, I don't know, it's like they're the things that they used to anchor to for a sense of stability and sense of self and all this stuff, they just fall away. And it's almost like when you confront that, you could say there's an opportunity for like advanced spiritual development there. And it strikes me that that's kind of how you're approaching it, where it's kind of like, yeah, I don't have the memory here, but rather than just be like constantly aggrieved about it and like, oh gosh, I can't find a sense of self anymore because I don't have this, sort of like an evolved sense of like a more present based, less past based sense of self that, part of, I guess, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't anchor myself in my early life, so I have
Yeah.
to figure it now.
Right.
And also, I think, I've talked about a couple of things here, but I also haven't talked about gender yet, and how like reevaluating everything through like coming out and realizing who, like, what is actually more authentic for me, which is like being transmasculine, right? Like I said earlier, I didn't really have a strong sense that I was trans in my early life. I kind of figured it out in my late 20s, and then, but didn't quite grapple with it. So kind of shoved it into a closet and didn't look at it again.
Yeah.
And didn't really come to terms with it till like my early mid 30s. But now I can look back and be like, oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff there that like people who aren't trans don't do. Or like I understand now that probably part of the reason I was bullied is that I wasn't particularly gender conforming, right? I wasn't doing being a girl very well.
Okay.
And like, obviously, whatever the fuck that means, like there's no universal right there anyway. Yeah. So just, it's that like coming out is reinventing yourself, right? Like embracing it, being trans is reevaluating yourself and being able to access these new parts of yourself that you had to shut down when you weren't looking at that.
I have a
because you couldn't
philosophical
acknowledge
question
them
for you.
without looking at them. Anyway, go ahead.
Something that I've never really thought about, but I like one of the things I was let me say it this way. Do you ever feel confined by the word trans?
Sometimes I think it's very easy for people to make assumptions about me when they hear that word.
Yeah.
That may not actually be true about me. I've known I've been surrounded by trans people for a lot longer than I knew it was trans, which is honestly kind of the first clue. um, but like knowing this many people with these different relationships to gender, like it makes clear how narrow the rest of society is on it.
Mm-hmm.
So when they hear that word from you, they're already assuming a certain narrative,
Mm-hmm.
which may or may not have anything to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, it's really restrictive. Yeah. And I think in the long run, like as useful as I find that label right now, I think in the long run, it would be nice to just live in a world where I didn't have to use it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all of these labels around sexuality and gender, and I don't want to knock them. There have been points in my life where they were really, really important to me, and they're not unimportant now. But it is nice to just live rather than agonize over which box I belong in
There you go. Yeah.
and to try to conform to whichever box I put myself in. As like someone under the bi umbrella, I've like agonized, like, right, like lived in that bi fog of like, am I bi enough, or am I really into this or that, or too much. It would be easier in a world to put less pressure on you to define yourself that way,
Yeah.
or
And this
or
is,
or had more grace when you changed.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was really beautifully put. And I was thinking about specifically that concept in core 6 territory, where it's like 6 is so sensitive to and aware of the categories that are held by the collective mind.
Mm.
And there's this constant, I would say, ambivalence in 6 that I see around being like the usefulness of labels and also the boxiness of them, you know? um, and, this idea of like not fitting into a binary gender paradigm and then finding myself in a new category, but then other people have perceptions about that category. And then when they hear the word trans, they make assumptions about me and how that word is held in the collective mind. That
Yeah.
produces a whole other thing. And yeah, I guess that's where the spirit of that question came from. And it's kind of like the idea maybe is to live in an acategorical space, you know, just to be what I am moment to moment. You could say, is that am
I
I
mean,
on
yeah,
to
there's
something here or not really?
I mean, there's that is part of the truth. Part of it is
Okay.
also labels can feel really great. They can be really empowering. I don't want to tell
Yeah.
someone like I like my labels.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have a relationship with them. I chose them on purpose. I would feel
Yeah.
weird if it was like, no, you're not allowed to have labels ever again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. We actually talked about this in library school, not through the lens of gender, but about like like when you go to library school, you learn how to organize information and how to think about information. And one of the things
Yeah.
we talked about
Yeah.
was categories are terrible, actually. They are really restrictive. They pin things down that probably can't be or shouldn't be pinned down. They don't work that great. Like you take a cataloging class and you're like, this book could go in 4 different places and they would all be correct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At the same time, they're the best tool we have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's kind of like we're running into the nature of language, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
because to call anything anything is to pluck it out from the primordial unity of existence and to say this thing that I'm carving out is whatever I'm labeling it, you
Yeah.
know. And the act the linguistic act you could say is making a distinction where you call something something and not something else
Mhm.
by implication. And yeah, I mean, it is just one of those like necessary limitations or kind of fundamental limitations that we live in. And language also, Heidegger is a German philosopher who says we live in a house of language. It defines our
Oh yeah.
it defines our world, right?
Yeah,
We live in the
absolutely.
categories that are created by language. And I
Yeah,
forget what. Yeah, go ahead.
as someone
Yeah,
bilingual, there's times when I don't have the right word in English, but I have it in French, or I
right,
don't have it in
right.
French, but I have it in English,
Yeah,
right? Because the cultures that produce those languages are emphasizing slightly different things.
yes. And this is where I'm going with I think that there's something just powerfully six about this. Like six has this, I think, like precocious awareness of or constant wrestling with and ambivalence towards the predetermined categories and linguistic distinctions that comprise the world that we live in and agree upon in the collective mind. And it's always like, is
Yeah.
this category right? I don't know. Is this
Yeah,
category right? I don't know.
we get
Yeah.
mad if you have the wrong categories.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
we
And it's
get
kind of like
pissed.
shaking our fists at like
Yeah.
the authority on high. Like there should be, these categories aren't right. They should be different categories,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's how the discourse is playing out right now in the public eye about trans people, right? Like only two
Yeah.
genders allowed, and not in the sense that you can be a binary trans person who fully transitions. Just like no,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we're over here, yeah, and like, yeah, the I mean the arguments within the trans community are diverse too. There's plenty of trans people who think only binary genders are real and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's all of us arguing over definitions
That's right.
instead of just
That's right.
acknowledging what's there. Or medicalizing what's there so they don't have to treat it as real.
Yeah. Yeah. So one more topic, and then probably we'll come to a close, but I wanted to bring out the category of integrating your sexual blind spot.
Yeah.
And what that's been like for you. And actually, I'll read something you wrote as a prompt. You said, when I realized the whole point of looking at someone in a sexual way was to get caught, that blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you say what that means and why was that mind blowing?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like a social self-pres, like you don't ever want to get caught looking in that way because like that's going to fuck up the social, that's going to fuck up your self-pres.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's a destabilizing. Yes.
Yeah, right? It is destabilizing. And that I get that that's the point now. But yeah, like I don't remember exactly how I got there, but I was talking with a friend when it happened, and she just laughed at me because this was the social sexual friend I mentioned at the top. She was like, "Yeah, no shit." But yeah, realizing that and that it's like that, it was like unlocking that, like you have to lean into the tension. Like now I am like on a body level understanding, like, oh, that's what you're actually going for. It's not just running away from it, running away from it, shutting it down. Yeah.
I love that phrase, getting caught. It's like, it's six too, you know, it's like, ooh, I don't want to do the bad thing. I'm trying to be responsible over here. Yeah. Yeah. Being caught. I love that. And so, yeah, what's the journey been like for you towards this more, self-exposing way of being?
For me, a lot of it is still in the interpersonal. I think there are ways where, like, when I think about it, okay, so obviously there's the part of it where you're like meeting someone's eyes and holding that gaze when you're both attracted to each other and going for it.
Yeah.
But also there's the parts of like your own flavor, and that part is kind of feels like it's on hold actually, because so get back to gender, right? Like my inner experience of myself is like this is the closest, whatever. What am I struggling with here? Okay, so I'm like my felt sense of, I often call myself a trans man for simplicity's sake. It's like close enough for horseshoes. So when I say like my sense of myself is like a feminine man, like mostly as a man. But like, yeah, so that is my felt sense of myself, and that is what I would like to show the world as my flavor. But I have this chest that I have this voice that I have. It's not happening unless I physically transition. It's never going to happen. It's never going to be read correctly. And the closest I can get to that is kind of like an androgynous woman. So there's just like a real, like, I'm just stuck. And there are probably other ways where I could show more flavor, but that's like really fucking annoying, frankly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's annoying?
That I can't be read correctly. Like I can't, even if I leaned into that flavor right now, it would be completely misunderstood.
Yeah. Yeah. That just, it's so fast. Like this, let's see, the framing of being misunderstood, of being read correctly. There's like a kind of attunement piece there, right? It's like,
yeah,
but it's attunement based on the collectively held categories that people are entering into an interaction with you with.
Yeah, but that's also what's happening. I don't know. I get what
That's
you're
what
saying.
I'm saying. Yeah. It's what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe there are people, maybe like people who are less attachment-y can just say fuck it and do it anyway. And like, I'm struggling to see the point of doing that when I don't think it will be received.
Right.
Like if the point is to polarize, but I'm not polarizing on the right thing, why am I bothering?
I see. Yeah. So that's like an extra hurdle in terms of showcasing your sexual flavor, is that sensibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But like it has like absolutely changed the people I chase. Right? Like I don't, like unless like our eyes meet and it's like a lightning bolt, I kind of don't want it anymore. Yeah. And it's been recognizing like if it doesn't have that, but I still feel drawn to you, it's probably more of a social crush.
Oh, interesting. So is that what you're meaning when you said earlier that there are more things you could do, but those things are annoying?
I don't. Oh no, I just mean like, no, that's not what I meant.
I misunderstood you. Okay,
I assume there are other ways I could probably show flavor that are not just related to like strictly to gender.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
But it is annoying that gender piece is something I worked so hard to excavate and now still not do. That's annoying.
Got it. Okay, that's what I understand now. Same page. Got it.
I did the work. I individuated myself, and now you guys just won't receive it. God damn it.
Yeah. When you say there are things you could do to showcase yourself more, what are those things?
I don't know. That's part of the work left to do. But
Right.
probably, I don't know, just like being, I don't know, maybe being more into the arts. Like I feel like I could probably be leaning more into that. And I mentioned that earlier, right? Like how like that always ends up being like the third priority.
Yeah. I wonder
And
if
it
there's
always ends up being the least important one.
I wonder if there's a three fixed last thing going on there too.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's really, and that's part of what's slowing me down on all these things too, right? Like, yes, part of my problem with trying to do all the things I want to and need to do is disability, but part of it is being three last.
Yeah.
Right. I get these, I really only get these short bursts of that like three drive and then they're gone. Otherwise I'm just relying on reactivity to get stuff done. And that's not, that is not a good way to get things done.
Yeah. Or another way is like the three, there's obviously the productivity element of three, but there's also, or activation element of three, but there's also, let's see, like submitting myself to your gaze, showing you who I am, kind of like, I guess in a sexual instinct way, it's like fanning out my peacock feathers. It's like not just walking around like knowing I have like this amazing tail, but actually like showing it to you. Yeah.
Yeah. when I was 19, I realized I could just ask out my crush instead of just pining quietly in the corner. And since I've had that revelation, that is what I do. I'm very good at starting something. So that aspect of like getting in touch with like actual attraction in my body, like actual sexual attraction, is not totally foreign. But it is also, it's frustrating how often it doesn't work out.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Like I see this thing happen now, like at least a few times a year, and I usually chase it. And it just, yeah, like, oh, I've only dated one of those people and that didn't work out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredibly vulnerable to put yourself out there in that way.
Yeah. And there are days when like I'll see someone like I'll see someone cute on the subway and just like, today I do not have the energy to put myself out there. I'm not especially getting a vibe from them. It's so much easier when you can tell it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
Yeah. When sometimes I experience it as like an unfurling. Like there was this one person where like I saw them from across the room and they were talking to other people, and then my whole body just went like a fern unfurling at sped up time. And that, I think that was real too, in a way that we couldn't have the lightning because it wasn't happening at the same moment. I kind of assume when I really feel that way, it's at least a little bit mutual. Yeah. But you can kind of tell sometimes it's really not. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. This is a really rich topic and there's a lot to say here, but one of the things that came up for me here is that like part of that 3 fix last thing is actually, look, I was going to say it's, like the 3 assertive energy is like assertiveness around making you look at me. It's like I'm going to be in such a way that your admiring gaze can't help but fall on me.
Yeah, and that's not really what I'm doing either.
Yeah.
I'm much more direct than that.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm learning to enjoy more of that, hey, look at me, I want you to look at me, that comes with the SX.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I haven't quite put this together before, how the sexual instinct display element has some overlap with 3 energy.
Yeah.
I didn't quite put that together before, but there really is something to it. That willingness to actually show you all my colors, and to kind of like do the dance, like do the mating bird dance kind of thing.
Yeah, I hadn't clocked that before either, but it makes sense. Yeah. Occasionally when I'm out, sometimes when there's no one else around really, inevitably when I'm out walking, I'll just like try dropping into that feeling, like that, of that flavor of that juice, and it's like inevitably right into my hips. And also like my expression changes. It goes from like the polite SO neutrality, like the polite social neutrality, to something a lot more bitchy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Like I can just feel the shift in myself. My expression's doing, the energy I'm putting off.
A little more swagger. Yeah, a little more.
Yeah, really though.
Yeah.
It is that display, even if in that moment I'm not really doing it for anyone, I'm just doing it for me.
Yes, which is actually, that's the whole, in the sexual instinct class that John and Alexandra taught, that was like their whole emphasis. The entire thing was that the sexual instinct is the healthy sexual instinct, you could say, or the actualized sexual instinct is not even necessarily in relation to an object or a target. It's about embodying it, your own sense of like feeling yourself.
Yeah, and that's exactly what that is in those moments. And I think part of the reason I mostly do it when I'm already moving is because then I get that sense of motion. I can really feel like I'm embodying it versus just like sitting here in the chair when there's not much happening. Everything's kind of static.
Yeah. 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 Cool.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll come to a close.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's this been like for you, and how do you feel?
Good. I wanted to learn some new things about myself along the way, and I think I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is probably more true to my type structure than many others, but I like talking about myself. So that was fun too. Yeah.
You know, I had an insight about 3 last versus 3 first in this conversation. I realized, and actually what I realized was it gave me an insight into the architecture of how we missed each other in that last conversation.
Yeah.
Because I just was like, my whole paradigm and orientation and way of like accessing another person is through this 3 lens of like, what's that? Let me see, like, let me hone in on who you are, how you're seeing yourself, and especially with my 3-wing 2 sensibility, it's like, let me like get in there and kind of help activate this. But then with you having 3 last, it's like that place in you is already somewhat kind of, I don't know, shrouded, you could say. Plus with the memory loss stuff, it's like you're arriving into that sense of your identity from a different, I don't know, kind of paradigm than the way that I typically see it. And so, yeah, that was like, oh, so anyway, I'm having a kind of aha moment about that.
Yeah, I feel like we're the ideal case study for that. So our type structures are pretty much identical, except for the 3 and the 6 being flipped.
It's really, it's profound, right? It's profound how,
but it really highlights like that one fundamental difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Center order really matters.
It is different. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for doing this. Thanks for being so open. And thanks again for being willing to talk through all that stuff with your childhood memories and stuff. I learned a lot from this conversation, and I'm excited to watch it back. So yeah, thanks for doing this. Thank you for tuning into this conversation with Aurel. If you liked this conversation, then please click the like button or hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening to this as a podcast, then you can leave up to a 5-star review, and also leave some comments if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. Those are free and very effective ways of supporting me and the show and the work that we do at the Enneagram School. If you're curious about the Enneagram and the work that we do at the Enneagram School, then I would love for you to come check us out at our website, theenneagramschool.com. If you get on our email list, we will send you updates about when we release new episodes just like this, as well as when we release announcements about workshops, courses, retreats, and other things of that nature. On our website, you can also find a catalog of interviews just like this, and you can search them by type and instinctual stacking. And there's also a lot of free content on the Enneagram itself, just a bunch of orienting content, type descriptions, overviews of the whole thing, etc. And I would love for you also to check out our intro course if you would like to take a slightly deeper dive. It's a great place to start if you're a beginner, or a great place to get back up to basics if you're an advanced student. If you think that you're a good candidate to be on this show, then I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me through the contact form at theenneagramschool.com. Just shoot me a message right through there. Preference strongly goes to people who have gotten officially typed by the typing team at Enneagrammer. I think that the typing team at Enneagrammer is the world's most accurate Enneagram typing team, and you can check out their typing services at enneagrammer.com, as well as their members area where you can watch them type celebrities in real time. Finally, this podcast is part of a larger group of collaborators, the Enneagram School, the Enneagrammer, as well as Synsomnia, the podcast where the Dream Girls talk about the unconscious and dreams and the Enneagram, as well as we have a new podcast called House of Enneagram, where we are using the Enneagram as a lens to talk about art, pop culture, also just to do deeper dives on different crevices of the Enneagram that haven't been explored yet, etc. It's kind of the new creative house that we're all living under, and I recommend you go check it out. All the links to everything will be in the show notes. Go check them out down there. And that is it for me. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.